missile suspension released. Item 135, launcher closure door open.
The administration of the new U.S. President Joe Biden is not an exception in Washington's pursuit to modernize nuclear arms against countries labeled as adversaries. The administration's $715 billion Department of Defense budget is set to transfer money set aside for aging systems towards modernizing the U.S. nuclear weapons stockpile in order to deter China. The defense budget is yet to be approved by Congress.
They will be aiming to modernize their nuclear arsenal, and probably they are going to, that's my suspicion, they are going to emphasize the development of new delivery systems and a new generation probably of nuclear weapons, a new generation of tactical nuclear weapons. That is in addition to the strategic nuclear weapons, which I'm sure they are going to modernize too.
It includes expenditures on troop readiness, the Pacific Deterrence Initiative, as well as nuclear weapons technologies to counter China's military buildup in the region.
The funding of the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter, which is in fact a fighter bomber, is a strike fighter, it's an attack plane. Is meant to penetrate air defenses without being detected, and they are improving it, or it's part of its design of the F-35 to carry nuclear weapons, and one in particular would be the B-61 Mod 12. That would be a free fall gravity bomb, which of course will be guided, satellite guided, in order to be able to hit the target with a circular error of probability very small. And that is why the B-61 Mod 12 gravity bomb would have, I understand, that would have only a nuclear yield of 50 kilotons.
The money will also be allocated to further develop and test hypersonic missiles and other next-generation weapon systems. The Biden administration will also continue to invest in modernizing the U.S. nuclear triad. It's an expensive project that the Congressional Budget Office estimate will cost more than $60 billion a year on average for the next decade, and more than $1 trillion in total. The money will be used to upgrade nuclear command and control, as well as delivery systems to deter China. Ties between Washington and Beijing particularly soured under former U.S. President Donald Trump, who clashed with China on trade, technology, and regional security, among other things. President Joe Biden also backed Trump's tough approach towards China, saying that the U.S. would continue to confront China on a number of issues, including global governance. Tensions between the two countries are extremely high over the strategic South China Sea waterway. The administration of the new U.S. President Joe Biden appears to not want to have a comprehensive oversight on its nuclear arsenal. Politicians and military leaders in Washington are concerned about the limits set to the nuclear stockpile. The New START Treaty does not allow the U.S. and Russia to surpass their nuclear arsenal from 1,550 apiece. Russia now has raised concerns over Washington's implementation of the New START Nuclear Arms Control Treaty, saying that the number of U.S. launchers and bombers exceeded the agreed limit. The New START Treaty was extended by Russia and Washington back in February.
They say that Russia has between 1,000 to 6,000, they are not sure, some sources, like Federation of American Scientists, I believe, that Russia may have tactical nuclear weapons in terms of 1,000 to 6,000. It is said that the United States have like 500, only 500 tactical nuclear weapons. I believe 200 of which in those gravity bombs that will be used against Russia in case of war between NATO and Russia, gravity bombs like the B-61. But of course, if they only have 500, I'm sure they may plan to increase the number of those tactical nuclear weapons.
The deal is a crucial part of a global arms control regime and limits the number of strategic nuclear warheads, missiles, and bombers that Russia and the U.S. can deploy. Washington and Moscow are at loggerheads over the treaty on open skies also. The treaty allows reconnaissance flights over the participants' entire territory. During the administration of former U.S. President Donald Trump, Washington quit the treaty. Russia ended its participation in the pact after the U.S. move. It's now suggested that the new U.S. administration, under President Biden, is trying to open two fronts against China and Russia in a bid to control them. This approach has the backing of the deep state in the U.S. and is set to provoke a global militaristic approach by warmongers and hawks in Washington.
It would seem that the United States is, the Pentagon, modernizing its nuclear arsenal to fight a limited nuclear war, probably against the two enemies. I would say that there is a greater probability or possibility of starting a war with Russia in the Mediterranean, over Syria, in the Black Sea, the Baltic Sea, in the area of Ukraine, than with China.